This is just on Amazon on Tuesday, April 3rd, 2018, again with a bit of a cold. So bear with me on this, and we'll take a look at how the pre-market looked with a rally up into the 1388 price, actually pushed through it. And then the first 5-minute candle opened up with a high wave right on it, a little bit above it, and it would have been a great place for it to bounce. Break above would have been bullish, a break below would be bearish, and that's what we actually got. Oh, we didn't. We actually broke up, and then, sorry, I was thinking that it actually broke down, but no, it actually broke up, came right back up into, let's see if I can scroll back into that triangle. I think it was that range. Yeah, so this is the 1403, the bottom side of that triangle. Oh, that was the rest of the day. All right, now you saw it all. There we go. All right, I thought I had previewed this, but maybe it's the cold getting in my head. Anyway, here we go. Up into the 1405 with some selling coming in. And then this candle, which looks a little bit bullish, but has a lot of selling in that upper wick. And these lows are really similar here. 1395.42 and 1395.24. Very similar lows that could hold the pre-market highs or could break down, and in this case it actually broke down and then continued very quickly all the way down, rivaling some of the lows that we saw yesterday during the day, and with some really large candles got down there really quickly. It kept on going into the 1350s and then got a little bit of buying in here. And after that many selling candles, it kind of needs to rest a little bit. It kind of needs to do something other than continuing down. We're holding on to the low from yesterday, 1355 on the dot. This low was 1355.33, which I believe ended up being the low of the day. And from there, we actually rallied pretty hard, about halfway back up into this level, right into the closing price, the closing area yesterday, 1370s here. And then continued up. And when it did this and it pushed through this 1388 again, I'm thinking this is really looking similar to this. It comes up here, looks like it's above, maybe you're going to get a reversal, here, just like here, or this one where it's just going to continue. But you got so much resistance here, that this starts to look like a lower high. Maybe it'll come down into make another lower low, higher low, and then I think I saw, what candle was it? This candle looked similar to this candle with similar lows to the previous candle. Some selling coming in, so break below these candles would make this consolidation be a breakdown, and that's somewhat of what we got here. It broke back down and then made a higher low. So lower high, higher low, and I'd be looking for a bigger triangle on the day to consolidate. And actually, so that's a higher low from this, but then that's a lower low. So maybe the triangle isn't as steep. So this one's a little wider this way and this way. So kind of a fake out, and makes another one. Look at that. Okay. I really did that. I think I previewed this a little bit better, but I guess not. So here's your, let's see, what is that? About 8 points. This one is about 8 points. So this lower high is about 8 points difference from this one. This lower high is about 8 points different from this one. That makes sense. That would do that. Then maybe it's going to come up and be another 8 points. That would put it around 1390, but I don't think 1389. I don't think I got up that high. Maybe I'm wrong. See what it does. 84. Okay. So it comes back up, does this double top thing, comes down, retests that neckline. Okay, great. Now it's actually going. You've got this pattern of lower highs, got this pattern of higher lows. You're right here. This is your decision point on this larger triangle. Don't have a squeeze yet. Momentum is dropping. And then you actually break down. And that'd be great to have a bigger retest of this triangle and then roll over. But this is very similar low here and here. And there's a reason I'm going slow with this, because I glanced at the chart right in here. The very next candle started to form. and the first minute or something, or second minute of the next 5 minute candle, and I got to go look at the 1 minute to see what actually happened, because it was kind of stunning. So I'm looking at this, seeing, okay, these are really similar lows here. 1362, 13, yeah, so there's exact lows. This one is 24 cents off. You're taking out this low, but it's like, after all this selling and all this selling, you're going to do it again? Is it really going to continue? And you're right in the lows of yesterday. I'm like, that would actually be a really good fake out point to get people in going bearish and then just bounce from there. And I'm thinking that, and I didn't even have my broker up. I was just glancing at the chart on my phone in the mobile app for TOS. And I was watching this candle form. I was shocked to see it do this candle. I saw it down here, just kind of holding, hovering. And I don't know if there was some news. I don't know what happened. I didn't even look it up to see what actually caused this. But I glanced at a couple of charts to see everything is rallying. It was really bizarre. But one thing I love about Amazon is that this is a 30-plus point move in 5 minutes. I mean, it's more bullish than all of this combined. I mean, similar range, but in a single 5 minute candle. And there was no signal to say it's going to do that. It just did it. I happened to catch it on the 1 minute, and I'll finish up the day. I'll jump over to the 1 minute and see what happened. It pulled back monstrously. So all those people that got in, people are getting out right away. And then it pushes a little higher. Again, this area up here is below that triangle on the from the other day, and this is actually at that triangle. So it just kind of paused and just lost whatever bullish momentum it had coming out of this. But this told me that we may see some more bullishness coming in. Not crazy bullishness. I mean, this was a crazy 5 minute candle, but it's basically the bulls not letting the bears have it. And so we'll zoom back out. You can see, this triangle. Push this forward a few days. So there's the resistance that we hit from that triangle, the lows in here. And we actually pushed through that up to, this same range on this day, from this day. And let's see, did we close? We actually had a 5 minute close above it and then just dropped below it. But, as this was happening, the spreads on options were going crazy. I'll zoom back in just on the day here, and let me zoom out to look at the options, because so the option I actually had them up on my phone was the monthly expiration of the 1450, and I was seeing this price at 1750. I'm like, that would have been a nice place to kind of get in there. You're taking out some lows. Actually, let me step back a sec. So each time on this put, this is the put expiring this week, the 1325. Each time we went from this high down to this low, from this low to this high on the put, and then from the lows here to the high, we ended up about the same high here and here. And I saw that. It's like, okay, that's a good place to actually get out of your put, because otherwise you're hoping that it's going to do more bearish and roll over. But the flip of that is that's actually a good place to expect it to reverse based on the options price. The high here being 14, the high here being 14.11. This was a great place to get out of the put, with a previous high on the put being your target. So that would have been right in here. And if you were thinking that would have been a good time to get into a call. Now, again, I had up the monthly, and I didn't realize I had the monthly until I was just trying to do the video here. And I realized, okay, where's the option price? Because I remember the 1750 on the dot here, and I didn't see it. And I was only looking at the weeklies. So when we come back in here, this call had a very strong reaction. I mean, it actually went in the money from 14. So The range on the previous candle was, $2 or something. So I don't even know if I would have gotten into that other than seeing it just hover in this space. I probably would have been maybe 14.25 if I realized I was looking at the wrong. I probably would have noticed I was entering my broker. It's like, that's not the price I was just looking at. Maybe this one. So the range on this is less than $1. So the 14.25, and going from, let's say $6 is what I got into. Had I actually had the time in that first minute of that next candle, it went up, came down hard. I probably would have been scared out of it or something when it did that, thinking, oh, it's just going to plummet, and then it ran a little bit higher. And I hope I would have gotten out probably at this previous high on the option in here, which would have been around 16. And that would have been getting at 6, getting at 16. That would have been $1,000 right there, 10R. So let me take a look at the 1 minute and see what it actually did on that candle. So we're looking at, 1345. Yeah, so the 1340 or 1345. I'm thinking the option price or the stock price. Okay, 1:45 p.m. This is the new candle. 1:46. So as this is forming, I was looking at it at 1:45. That's exactly the time I was looking at it. And then the very next candle, the very next minute, it did that. And so this is the minute I actually looked at it. And obviously it's a video on the internet. You can believe me or not. But I glanced at the chart right here on the 5 minute, not the 1 minute. Glanced at it right here and saw that just kind of hovering right in here. It's like, that doesn't look like it's going to roll over. It looks like it looked like a double bottom even on the 5 minute, but it very clearly looks like one on the 1 minute. So we're back in the 5 minute. This looked like a really quick double bottom. It didn't look to me like it was going to roll over, even though it had taken out that low, was staying above this low. It looked like it needed a retest of this higher, needed a little bit more of a retest up into this for it to then roll over. And so obviously I didn't get into it. Wish I would have. I was watching it, didn't even have my broker open to get into anything, and would have had only a minute to do it live, or would have had to have something set up to get into it. But like I said, this is clear to me that the bulls are really not just letting the bears have their day. We ended up on the day with the open and the close being within $1 of each other. So it's a slightly bullish candle, very indecisive. And I believe the long-term moving averages are still down closer to 1,300, somewhere in here. I don't have them up on this chart. If we continue this kind of alternating days, I mean, we had bearish day, bearish day, then a gap, and then bearish, bullish. If we alternate like that, we could gap up, we could have some more selling, we could sell down to the long-term moving averages, then bounce. But it just seems like the last couple days we've had this alternating of moves. And if we go back into the 5 minute, you can see, you can look back at the videos we've done. There are some clear places to sell up here. There are some clear places to buy around 1388. There was some, let's see, what was the gap one? So this is the bullish one. We came down in here. We double bottomed on that. That was a place to buy. And then this one was a bearish day. That just sold off, took out those lows. And then here we are down at these lows again, place to buy. It seems like every other day there's been a different direction. That's been the primary direction of what's happening. And so if that holds, then, tomorrow could offer some sort of a gap up and maybe do some selling, only if that holds. We've got some lows down in here now, around 1360, that you're going to contend with. And if you break that and, break through them significantly, then, we could see something happen to the downside. I haven't looked at the 4 hour. Yeah, we didn't really get much of a retest to that triangle, already way down here. But this is where some of these lines are coming from. See if there's anything on the 1 hour. No triangles on the 1 hour. Nothing that stands out. It's just a lot of choppiness in here. Looks more like an accumulation that could go up, or a distribution that could just continue down. And it looks like it's more likely to go down. that, we've got some of these patterns that form that we're just retracing into some of these levels. So if we get through the 1360 on the downside, maybe some of the lows down in here around, let's see, what is this one? 12. It's not giving it to me in the cursor. The low on this one was 1265. That's almost a 100-point move to the downside to come down here, which it could easily do and contend with that move on that day. Beyond that, this would be a good pivot point to come back to, or anywhere here in this triangle. We had some squeezes there. We had some squeeze way back up here on this 4-hour. But let's see. The other thing we could do is come back down to this level, bounce, come back up some to this, and roll over again for a larger head and shoulders. It's even possible to do some of that here. It'd just be a neckline at an angle. So let's just wait and see what's going on. But my guess is there's going to be some more selling tomorrow. It'd be nice if it rallies after hours. Similar to, which one did it? I guess it hasn't, well, this one. Yeah, today. It rallied after hours. Could rally like that up into the 1425 area. Look like it's taken out the highs from this day, a little bit from this day too. Well, yeah, it would be, because that was highs in here were above 1425. So it could look like it's taken out some of these highs, and it could push a little higher and then roll over. You've got all these highs in here to contend with. The 1450 area, if it does do that. We're somewhat range bound these days, with a little bit of a downward slant on what's actually happening. So a retest into the highs here could be a retest of this bearish retest gap. Hopefully then it would stay under this price level at the 1468 and then roll down. But with an indecisive candle here, it really could go either way. And so look for the consolidation, look for it to go sideways for a little bit extra, and play some of the candles that you're looking for, and I'll do the same. So this is Justin AMZN, and hope you enjoy the video.